Plus. One other thing before we get into the show. I have been called out again by the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance. Today, in an interview, he formally condemned me. And once again, he's trying to convince me to eat shit. I don't know what to say at this point. I don't want your shit, okay? I know that's what they do in India. I know that's maybe what happens at your dinner table. I don't want it. I don't want your shit. Stop trying to get me to eat shit. I see this interview. He says, oh, I seem to recall I told Nick Fuentes to eat shit. So listen, man, I know that's how they roll where your wife is from. Good for you. I don't need any cultural enrichment. I don't want it. I don't want any of that. Thanks, but no thanks. I'm trying to be polite. I said no once. Now it's becoming sort of an imposition. It's getting to be a little bit impolite. I don't want it. Okay? I try to be nice. I politely declined. Now I have to refuse. I'm not eating it. So save it for the Indian Cultural Festival at the Naval Observatory. I'm good. I like hamburgers. I like hot dogs. I like fried chicken. I'll have the butter chicken, okay? Pass the butter chicken, all right. The curry, I'll try it. The shit, that's a little too far for me. That's a little too much cultural enrichment. It's a little too third world. I'm not that adventurous when it comes to that sort of thing. So I see the statement. He says, I condemn Nick Fuentes. I told him to eat shit. I said, buddy, I know that I did not participate in your cultural festival, but you got to let it go. I will say, though, after he officially condemned me, I am now officially never Vance. So he said that on the interview. He said, I condemn Nick Fuentes and his supporters. Well, then we condemn you. J.D. Vance is officially condemned by the real America First. He is condemned by the real Americans. He's condemned by the Groypers. And you just lost a huge chunk of support or potential support. You condemn me? Well, then don't complain when we don't vote for you. We are not voting for you. I am not voting for you. I am not telling anybody to vote for you. I don't care if you're the nominee. I don't care if you win the primary. You are not getting my vote. So you just made a big mistake. Off to a rough start there. I will reserve my endorsement for a candidate that is actually willing to put America first over Israel. I'm saving my endorsement for someone that is putting America first over India. We don't need another president that puts H-1B Indians and their shit and Israel first Jews and their money over the United States of America. I condemn you. I condemn your liberal wife. I condemn your sugar daddy, Peter Thiel. I condemn Little Tech. I condemn you and your America Last administration. You should worry about this catastrophe, which is the second term. You got no mass deportations. You got no peace with Russia. You're going to war with Iran. The economy is taking a shit. And you're on an interview condemning me. I condemn you, and I condemn this failing administration. Why don't you do your job? Why don't you march your little fat ass down to the Oval Office and tell this president to start deporting millions of people like you promised to do? Because if you don't, it's your ass in 2028. I got a news flash for you, pal.
So Nick Fuentes is just straight up violating J.D. Vance. So if you've been on Twitter today, you'll see that J.D. Vance actually spoke on Nick Fuentes today. Fuentes does not want J.D. Vance to be president at all, for numerous reasons. We don't know who this guy is. He was under Peter Thiel's wing. Together, we just think that J.D. Vance's history is pretty shady. He's the definition of an industry, like When it comes to music, we all know what industry plants are. For the political version of an industry plant, that is what JD Vance is. He came out of nowhere. He didn't support Trump in the beginning at all. And matter of fact, he even called Trump a Nazi. So this guy coming out of nowhere, I agree with Nick. Who is this guy? And I personally think it's a bad look for him to even say something to a streamer like Nick Fuentes. But it lets you know how much influence and power and how much that Nick Fuentes' opinion matters. And I think he's getting a little nervous for the next election. That's my opinion. I could be wrong.
Going to swallow a JD Vance candidacy in 2028, and he doesn't have to fight for it. But they got another thing coming. JD Vance is the vice president. As far as I'm concerned, he owns the failures that are happening in this administration. He owns it. You resisted the Epstein files. You have not deported nearly enough people. We are on our way to strike Iran again. You're on an interview talking about a live streamer. You're on NBC condemning the Groypers. You need to focus up. You need to get your head in the game. Stop giving speeches. Stop throwing yourself in front of the cameras every time it concerns an issue that you know is going to be a campaign ad in 2028. And why don't you start governing? Why don't you start using that executive power? Why don't you start doing things then? I'm not sold on that. I don't think anybody's sold on that, and I don't think anybody is sold on you. We don't even know who you are. You know what I was doing in 2016? I was knocking on doors for President Trump. You voted for Evan McMullin. In 2017, I was at Charlottesville. You were on CNN calling Trump a Nazi and praising Obama. And tomorrow night on my show on Friday, I'm doing a special. We are going to talk about all of Jeffrey Epstein's connection to this administration. And that's going to be a problem for you, buddy. Tomorrow night, we're doing a big special. We are going to map out all of Jeffrey Epstein's connections, in particular to this Trump administration. Howard Lutnick and Leon Black and Les Wexner and Peter Thiel and Reid Hoffman, all of it, we're going in. You want to play this game? All right, let's play. Here's the difference. You want to be the president of the United States. I'm a live streamer. You want to go to war with me? You want to go to war with the Groypers? Here's the difference. You need young white men to turn out and vote for you. You are asking for something from us. You are trying to be the president. I'm a live streamer. I can do this all day.
I agree with Nick. It's actually a bad look that he's actually responding to a live streamer. It's in a win-win situation. You get more clout, popularity, more eyeballs, more people tuning in to your stream if JD Vance mentions your name. So that's an L on JD Vance's part, okay? JD Vance has everything to lose because you'll look cringe, lame, embarrassing if you're just getting violated and you look stupid responding to Nick Fuentes, okay? I like Nick Fuentes, by the way. But yeah, it's just a bad look altogether. And yeah, so a lot of the things that Nick is saying is the Trump administration has not delivering 100% on all their promises. They campaigned heavily on mass deportations. They even stopped reporting it. I remember how they were showing all the media coverage. I ain't going back to Haiti. Stuff like that. They actually stopped reporting it. They're not, and Trump even said, I'm going to deport. It's going to be the most biggest mass deportation operation in the history of America. It's not. And you saw on Twitter today that he's actually copping pleas and he's softening up a little bit. So everything, if anything, all this is making Nick Fuentes look really good on what he's saying, that he's making good predictions, making more people tune into him.
I can do this all day, pal. You want to go to war with me? I don't think you're going to like how that winds up for you. I can do this all day, pal. You want to go to war with me? I don't think you're going to like how that winds up for you. So that's my response to the vice president of the United States. I can eat shit. You eat shit. You tell Usha Vance, prepare another course of shit for you and your family while you go to India and advocate for H-1B visas. We're not eating that shit. Nobody's on board with that, pal. So anyway, so that's JD Vance. Crazy how we have beef with this guy. Isn't that wild? We have beef with the vice president of the... He's beefing with me. JD Vance is beefing with me. And you could tell he was tilted about it. I don't know if you saw the clip, but they start asking him about me, and he starts nervously laughing. I thought I told that guy to eat crap. And what do you mean by his supporters? I don't know what supporters means. Don't get too tilted. Don't get rattled. Don't get nervous. And you know what? People are always asking me, who are we going to vote for in 2028? If not Vance, then who? You never know what's around the corner. I've got a few ideas. I'll tell you this. I don't think we're going to have to settle for JD Vance. I'll say that much. And I think the further that Trump slides into the shit, look, Trump is becoming a toxic asset. He's becoming a liability. And the further he falls, the more that race is going to open wide up. You're overconfident. So that's my warning. That's my admonition for Vance. The other thing I wanted to say, one other thing before we, and by the way, you know, in the end, that is what it is going to come down to. I want everybody to realize the big political struggle of the next 2 years is against JD Vance. That's it. So people are talking about my position on Venezuela and on Charlie Kirk and on Epstein and all this stuff. Let me tell you something. The only thing that's going to matter in the next couple of years is whether you are for this artifice that is being foisted upon us or whether you're against it. That's all you really need to know. The Jewish thing has in some ways become convoluted, but if you are in favor of this Silicon Valley creation, this Israel first artifice, CIA asset, if you are in favor of him being installed, that's all I need to know. Look at who's behind him.
Yeah, so like Nick's basically saying, very shady past this guy. We don't even know everything about this guy. So we know all about Trump's upbringing. JD Vance is just an industry plant. Like Dolce. Like, I don't know, think of a musical artist that's an industry plant. Ice Spice, something like that.
Peter Thiel and David Sachs and Tucker Carlson. This guy is a creation of the deep state. This guy is a representative of Silicon Valley and the tech industry. He's a representative of the intelligence agencies. He's not even a real human being. JD Vance isn't even a real name. That's not even a real person. He didn't become JD Vance until he was 28 years old. I'm 27. So could you imagine if next year I changed my name and started going by Vance? That would be totally insane. This is not even a real person. If you are trying to foist this on the American public as the successor to Donald Trump and the MAGA movement, you are not our friend. So that's going to be the real fight. And I'm very curious to see how that all shakes out and who's going to be on what side. You can't be railing against the war in Gaza and all these things that have been happening, this Trump administration, which is a complete flop by design, and then go and shill for Vance in 28. Keep a very close eye because it's already so fake. I look on Twitter. Anytime you call out JD Vance, the bots come in. Anytime you criticize JD Vance, they have already paid for the media. All these people come in hot out of the group chat in the replies, the quote tweets. I saw some guy say, it's so third world to criticize JD Vance. Third world? Dude, he's married to the third world. I said, I'm never Vance. You have one of these LARPing MAGA accounts that says, oh, that's really third world to be against Vance. Third world? You want to see the third world? Go to JD Vance's house on Thanksgiving. That's the third world, okay? Third world? It's third world to criticize the vice president. Bro, India is the third world. That's where his wife is from. That's what his kids are about. JD Vance loves the third world so much, he married it. That's how much he loves the third world. Hey, JD, you love the third world so much, why don't you marry it? He did. He had an interreligious wedding, intercultural wedding ceremony with his Indian wife. Then they took their kids dressed like Slumdog Millionaire to India last year. And people have the audacity to say, I'm third world? Are you kidding me? That's totally insane. So anyway, that's that. I do want to move on, though. I want to get into something else. So I told you the other night, I don't really want to weigh in on the Elijah Schaffer, Sarah Stock drama.
Look, man, I like Nick Fuentes a lot. Talking about the man's wife, it's not an angle that I probably would have took, but I get it. I know exactly what he's talking about. Keeping the nation majority white. He's thinking that our leadership needs to be an example of that. So he's always coming at their household. So very interesting. So let me know what you think. You guys agree with Nick Fuentes when it comes to JD Vance? Is he going too hard? Do you like JD Vance? In the comment section, let me know, because I'm kind of curious. And personally, I don't really like JD Vance that much. I do think he has a shady past if you do dig in deep. But maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe Nick doesn't always talk about. So let me know. Peace.